Oh, shit.
I checked my phone for the time. 7:32 p.m. I had 3 voicemails and 14 missed calls. I will have to check those out later. I must have been exhausted. The sound of sirens kept waking me up last night. I think I only slept for a few hours before waking up and rushing to work. I had only planned a nap for my lunch hour, but I suppose that didn't work out too well. My boss is going to kill me.
Damn, it's dark.
I walked over to the light switch to find it was still in the on position.
Did we lose power?
I decided to open my office door to see if anyone else was still in the building. I found the rest of the office was completely dark aside from a faint orange light that bled through the window shades.
Hello? Is anyone here? Hello? Looks like everyone's already gone.
The office was eerily quiet, and I have to admit it was quite unnerving. I went back into my office to search for the flashlight that I had stored in my desk. I clicked the flashlight on and walked back out into the common area. I shined the light throughout the room to verify that no one remained inside the building. It looked like the room had been ransacked. There were papers and belongings strewn about the floor.
What the hell happened here?
It looked like a bomb had gone off. Desks were turned over and...
Is that blood?
It seemed fairly fresh. What the hell happened here? All I knew was I didn't want to be here any longer than I had to be. I cautiously walked to the other side of the room, carefully scanning my surroundings, trying to reach the stairwell to head down to the second-floor parking garage where I parked this morning. I finally reached the door to the stairwell. There was a red handprint on the gray door, which I assumed at this point was also blood.
I have to keep moving. There'll be time to sort this out later.
I took a determined breath and opened the door to the stairwell. The door creaked open with an impossibly loud screech. I slowly entered the stairwell, looking about to see if the person that left the blood was still there. I didn't immediately see any signs of the person, but to be perfectly honest, I wasn't going looking for them. I had to get out. I traversed the stairs at a snail's pace. If there was a dangerous person in the building, I didn't want to get surprised by them. It felt like it took hours to reach the next floor, but in reality, it was only a handful of seconds. On the third-floor exit that led out to the garage, I saw a similar bloody handprint. I considered opening the door to look out for the bleeding person to see if I could help them. I paused for a few moments before ultimately deciding to continue on to the second-floor exit. I mean, it's not like I'm a trained paramedic. What could I even do if I found them? I mean, really. Or even worse, I stumbled across the person responsible for the injury. Halfway down to the final floor, I realized something. If someone did hurt a person like that, where are the police? After I reached the landing at the second floor, I took another deep breath and slowly opened the door. I took a few steps, and I thought I saw movement out of my peripheral vision, and I froze.
Hello? Who's there? Do you know what's going on? What's going on?
After a few moments, I continued moving toward my car. As I got within a few steps of the vehicle, there it was again, movement. I shined a light towards the far wall, and there it was. There was a person shambling towards me. They had gray-white eyes, and their face was covered in blood. It looked like chunks of flesh and meat were dangling from their teeth. Their skin lacked the usual hue and was a grayish yellow with purple splotches. I saw behind them a body lying on the floor of the garage. It looked like they were half-eaten. I was momentarily frozen, and then the adrenaline hit.
Holy shit.
I quickly scrambled to open the car door. My hands were shaking, so it was easier said than done. I could hear the shuffles and moans getting closer.
Got it.
I swiftly opened the door in center console and retrieved my concealed carry pistol. I turned and pointed the gun at the guy.
Hey! Back the fuck up. I will shoot. I'm serious.
The man continued closer. I'd had enough. I pulled the trigger. The bastard barely showed any signs of having been shot. He reached the back of my car, and before I could even think, I had pulled the trigger again. This time I had shot him in the head. He fell right where he stood. I didn't waste any time and got in my car and backed out of the parking space, slightly running over the body as I continued. I can't believe that just happened. I killed someone. I mean, I guess they had just killed and eaten someone else. But still, I killed someone. I killed someone. Shaken but determined, I continued toward the exit. As I reached the ground floor of the garage, I saw more people just like him. My vehicle caught all of their attention and they all started moving towards my car. I wasn't about to stop and try to talk it out with them. As I reached the exit, one stood squarely in the doorway. I didn't even think. I smashed the accelerator to the floor, running them over. When I reached the street, I could see the sky was glowing orange. And as the rush had subsided, I could notice the sound of the city filled with sirens. I didn't have first-hand experience, but the best way I could describe it is that it sounded like our city was a battlefield in a war. I drove at a safe pace, heading towards my house. I could see that there were no lights on anywhere in the city. As I drove, my headlights illuminated several more of those crazy people. What are they? Zombies? I couldn't believe I had just said that. Zombies? Really? Although, I couldn't come up with a better name for what they were. Still, it didn't seem right. Fucking zombies. I have never seen the Tulsa skyline glow like this. Sure, the lights from all the office buildings and nightlife lit up the skies on a regular basis. The orange glow from what could only be large structure fires lit up the horizon. The city that had a population of over 400,000 looked like a desolate wasteland. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. On multiple occasions, I passed bodies completely eviscerated by those fucking monsters. How many people could have survived this, especially in this city? While I technically lived within Tulsa County, I did not live too close to the city. My house was in the suburban town of Sand Springs. It offered all of the necessities and was a reasonable drive to my job. I just hoped that it hadn't hit as hard there, whatever this is. My hopes were completely shattered once I arrived. It took roughly an hour to reach my house. Usually it only takes about 15 minutes to get to work, but there was so much debris on the road I could only drive 15 to 20 miles per hour. I pulled up to my garage and parked. I breathed a sigh of relief. I made it. I made it. I grabbed my pistol and the flashlight and moved towards the door. I scanned the surrounding area. I was not going to get surprised and jumped by one of those fuckers. After a few moments, I was satisfied that I was alone in my yard. I hadn't realized that I hadn't taken a breath since I had gotten out of my vehicle. By the time I reached my front door, my chest burned. I finally let the air out of my lungs and took several deep breaths in. After pausing for a moment to gather my faculties, I took out my keys and opened the door. Just wanted to say thank you for listening. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to Mike Dodge and Ethan Cartwright for editing notes. And I hope to see you again next time on In Dying Days.